Take two. Take two.
Take two. So the first recording didn't record.
Didn't pick up
So
the
we're doing this
mic.
for the
So
second
round
time.
two, 12 hours later, basically.
Round two. Let's go. So, why don't we start off with a bit of your story again?
Okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. So I was born and raised in Kathmandu, Nepal, until I was 8 years old. Growing up, I would say I was pretty shy. I was chubby. I had friends, but I didn't have too many, if that made sense. But I was ultimately shy, chubby, until my parents moved here to the U.S. in Texas whenever I was 8. They won a thing called Divi, which I don't know what the actual wording is, but in Nepalese Divi, which is kind of like a lottery to go abroad. So we got lucky, and like I said in the last take, whether it's God, the universe, whatever, I feel like my family got lucky, and I was able to come here. From 8, I started to kind of I guess to get Americanized, whatever. And it wasn't until I was 17 that I started. I was curious to make more money, right? I remember telling my parents, I was like, I want to be my own boss. I want to be my own boss. Like, why can't, like, why, I don't like working for money. I'd gotten my first job at the time at like a fast food place. I was getting minimum wage, which was like $7 an hour. I was 16, maybe 17. Um, but then I remember just telling my parents, like, I want to learn how to make money. I want to learn how to make money. Like, I want to be my own boss. My parents laughed at me because I was a kid, whatever. But that desire in me, I still had it, and I started watching a lot of finance people on YouTube. One of the big ones, I don't know if you know, is Graham Stephan. Do you know who that is? No?
No,
No,
I
okay.
don't.
But it's like some finance YouTuber. He talks about stocks, S&P 500, whatnot. I started watching him, and he recommended the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Everybody knows that book, probably, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
And
everyone
that was
recommends
the
that.
first like financial book that I read. This was like the first book I read outside of school. So usually you have books, like your reading teacher gives you, or your science teacher, history teacher, whatever. This was the first book in years I had read outside of school, from like start to finish, front to end, that I read. And I was so interested in this book that I finished it because it's talking about how do I get rich, how do I make money. So obviously I finished the whole book front to finish, or front to end. And then from there, I read other books like Think and Grow Rich, 4 Hour Work Week, Tim Ferriss, 48 Laws of Power. That's not really related to the book itself, but basically the whole self improvement slash business self development genre. I started reading books in that category. From there, I would say whenever I was about 19, about to turn 20, I was still in college, still doing whatever. I was reading these books. I had some knowledge on how running a business or a financial system works, but I just told myself, oh, I'm just gonna finish college. I'll just wait till after I finish my degree, and now I have money to invest, and I'll start later. I'll do something. Like, I always had that business desire, but my parents kept telling me, go college, go college, go college. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna fucking stick to university for now. But around this time, I got a new job, and uh, I didn't really like the job. It was ass. It was at the airport. The job itself was cool, but it was just it felt like I was taking away so much time while also juggling school. So I was working like 5 days and then school. I didn't need to. I just wanted the money. So this kind of goes back to me wanting more money, but
Right.
I didn't
Yep.
need to. But I was like, "Fuck, this is so ass. I don't want to work for somebody else. Like, I don't say this is horrible, but this is ass.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I just want to quit. Screw this stuff." So I ended up quitting that. And around that same time, every day from work, or every day around 3 or 4, My mom comes home from work, right? And every single day, it was the same exact thing over and over. It was like dread. Like, she looked so dead. Like, I felt bad, man, because whenever we were in Nepal, she didn't have to work a day in her life. It was super easy for her. She was happy. She was nice. I'm not. She's still nice, but like she just overall felt more happy. And when I compared her life of hers from in Nepal versus here, it was just horrible. It was night and day. And every single day, I just saw her come home from work, and I just realized like, fuck, man, like I hate seeing my mom like this. Like this is horrible. Like she would be so happy to get 3 days off for a weekend. So she would work Monday through Thursday, and let's say Friday, Saturday, Sunday she was off. It was like an amazing time for her. Like she felt genuinely so happy, and I was like, that's sad, man. And I realized at the same time, most people live that way. Most people live that they just work, 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 wait for the
Nine to
weekends.
five.
They're happy, yeah, 9 to 5, and then they go home, whatever. So I give a lot of credit to my mom, I guess, for kind of starting me on this journey and forcing me to start like and act now. So after seeing what happened to my mom, I was like, okay, I need to make money now. Like I don't want to start a business now. I want to start now. I've read all these books. I have some idea. I just want to start. I just don't know where. So I started looking around at drop shipping. I started looking around at Amazon FBA a little bit, but
Investing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Ultimately, what drew me in was I watched a lot of Hamza, and Hamza at this time made a video with Iman, and I was like, oh, who's this guy? And because Hamza, like if you're a fan of Hamza, you know that whenever he says something or like works with somebody and endorses somebody, quote unquote, you know that they're the real deal. They're like a high quality person. So he mentioned Iman in the video, and I went ahead and checked him out, and then I started just binge watching a lot of his videos. I watched a lot of his videos, and he ultimately gave me the direction to start a SMMA agency. Right? He was talking about how to use contractor arbitrage. Basically, if you don't know, for the people watching, contractor arbitrage, what he says is you offer a service to a business. So let's say Facebook ads to fitness industry, and you basically hire a contractor to fulfill that service. So essentially, you charge the fitness brand or company $2,000 a month. You pay a contractor to make 200 a month, and you just take the in between, which is 1,800. So he talked about that, and that's initially where I got started with my agency journey. Um, Long story short, could you mute your Discord notifications, by the way? I keep hearing that, or is that me?
That's not mine.
Fuck. Okay. So I started my agency journey through running Facebook ads, right? So I was offering exactly what I just mentioned, Facebook ads to other fitness brands and gyms overall, right? Now, one of the outreach channels that Iman recommends is cold email, right? It's to me, I was too much of a pussy to start cold calling at first. I'm not even gonna. I'll just be honest with you. So I was like, it's either that or I have to go to these gyms in person, but that might take more effort. But I was like, I'm just gonna learn cold email. It's just easier. I can just type it and I can send out emails every day, right? So I read a book called $100 Million Offers by Alex Hermosi. I always recommend this book to anybody who wants to create an offer. Go read that book. It's like $1.99 on Kindle, super cheap. And I found that book through Twitter, and that's primarily where I learned a lot of my skills of cold email, just through Twitter. Um, so I started doing outreach for these brands, and I noticed that, oh shit, like I'm actually really really good at cold email. I know how to book meetings. I know what to say. I know how to test and stuff. And a lot of people on Twitter at the time are running a lead generation agency. At least the people that I followed that talked about cold email. The people that talked about cold email, they were running a lead generation agency, which was basically booking other agencies, meetings with their ideal prospects, while you, as the lead generation agency, just book meetings for them and take profits. So I was like, well, why don't I just do that? It's a lot easier. I don't have to create ads. I don't have to fulfill a service. All I really have to do is cold email, learn, get really good at it, hop on sales calls with these agencies, close them, and then learn their offer and do the same thing again. Learn cold email, implement cold email in their business. So that's is basically where I started, and I've grown ever since.
Okay, so for anyone starting out, what do you think would be a better option or a better business model to go for? SMMA or lead generation?
So I have bias towards lead generation. I really think both can work. I like the whole agency model itself. I have a lot of love for because that's all I do. I'm a lead generation agency myself, and I work with other marketing agencies. So I think both models can work. It's just with lead generation, like I said, there's no ads you have to run or manage or write copy for or hire a contractor for. All you have to do is learn the skill of cold email and learn how to sell and hop on sales call. That's pretty much it. Now, the skill of cold email is hard, yes, but in my opinion, or at least for me, I would rather learn how to I would rather learn how to sell through cold email than go through the struggle of creating ads, KPIs, ROAS, all the other extra stuff on ads and stuff, or like even short form. No offense, obviously, but that's just me. So I would prefer lead generation, but in my opinion, both can work. Whatever you want to do, go ahead and do it. Just find a pain point in the market, so whatever industry you're targeting, and see where you can fill the gap and
Maybe
charge
for
good
one.
prices. Yep.
You just gotta find a place where you can find value and
Mhm.
go for it.
Yep.
Okay, so you are currently running a lead generation agency, right? How much are you making in a month?
So right now I'm making around that $4,000 to $5,000 a month range. It really varies from month to month depending how good my clients go or how many meetings I book them. But right now I've kind of hit a wall, but I know what I need to adjust. I know on what's next and what's holding me back. So that's basically been kind of the bottleneck for me from growing. But around that 4 to 5K a month range right now.
Okay, okay, that's nice. So you mentioned like you didn't like seeing your mom sad because she had to work all the time. Does she still work?
She still works for right now just because a lot of my money I've been reinvesting back into the business. So I haven't been able to give her money. But I want to change that for real. And I know there's a lot of people like me in that regard where you don't
Yeah,
want to see your
I
parents
understand.
work. You don't want to see them go through struggle because they've done so much for you. You just want to give them the best that you can. So I hope that you guys had that same desire like I did and act on it and go for whatever you want to go for so that you can actually fulfill your dreams and hopefully retire your parents or make it so they don't have to work as much. So to answer your question, no, but in these next few months I really plan on doing that.
It's really important, but your parents really took care of you since you were young, but they might not give the best advice, so people should follow their own desires,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
dreams.
yeah, yeah. No, no, I meant,
Same
I
thing
meant,
happened to
I
me.
meant, I meant like, if you're tired of seeing your parents work, you know, act on the business. Don't delay the business. If you are like me, which I know a lot of people are, where they're like, oh, I'll just do it later, or I'll start in the future, blah blah blah. Act on it, because I know your parents are working hard and they provide for you. Why don't you want to retire them and make it so they're a lot happier and they don't have to go through this 9 to 5 rat race matrix stuff? Act on your desire to start a business. Do it now. There's literally no better time than now. But to clarify, that's basically what I meant. Just yes, your parents might not always give the best advice. I was just saying, act on, take action today. Don't wait till the future. That's all I meant.
Okay, so steering off a little bit from that, like how many clients are you working with right
So last after this month, it'll just be two. Um,
now?
but to put a long story short, I first got my marketing agency client, and I went to the insurance industry, right? So I went into the insurance industry because it was like it's what you call a blue ocean niche. Nobody's in there or nobody's doing lead generation for them through cold email. So I knew that I could go in there and charge a lot of money, right? And put a long story short, what ended up happening was the insurance sales cycles were like 2 or 3 months. So for them to actually get visible results by working with me takes a lot longer, right? And I was like, okay, I can probably keep getting new clients in the insurance industry, but what will end up happening is my offer is good, everything is good, but if I can't get them results, quickly, a month or two in, and they have to wait 3, 4 months maybe, then I'll just keep churning clients. Churning means the client leaving. So I'll just keep losing clients because they want results now, right? So I was like, I'm gonna go back to the marketing agency niche simply because it's a lot easier to get results for with cold email. It's proven and tested. So I went back to that. So, but before getting back fully back into the marketing agency niche, I had one insurance client that I was holding on to. We're recording this end of the month in June, so today was like my last day with them. I was like, I called him yesterday. I was like, hey, it's been good, blah blah blah. And I had told him in the beginning of the month, I was like, this is the last month I'm probably gonna end up working with you, just letting you know. But we had a talk yesterday, and I decided to let that go. So right now I only have two clients for my marketing agency, or two clients that are marketing agency for my agency.
So you are making around $5,000 from two clients.
So yeah. So no, now that I lost one, I'll probably be a little under that. But this next month in July, I plan on getting lot of more new clients for the marketing agency side of things.
So what other plans do you have for scaling your system?
So right now is just to get to that $10,000 a month range. You know, everybody talks about 10K a month, 10K a month, 10K a month. Right now, my main goal is to get to that range, and because that's the first big milestone in your business, right? Sure, you have your first client, you have this, you have that, but after you get to your first 10K a month, I really feel like, because everybody says it, that's like when you know your business is official and that you can really take this to the moon. So the main thing here is to eventually get to 10K a month with these next 2 or 3 months, and from there just keep learning and providing value to you guys on YouTube. Just keep learning and providing other value so that other people who try to SMMA, for example, like I did, and didn't really like it or failed or want to switch, quote unquote, that they can take a different path and join my agency journey, or a lead generation agency journey.
Which is coming soon as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so like, do you think the same systems you're using currently, like the same similar apps and everything, without having to change any of that, do you think you can get to 10K a month?
Easily. Everything that I have, Apollo and Smartlead or Instantly, whatever email sending tool you want to use, everything that I have and the knowledge that I know, I think I can easily get there. Simply because that's all you need. You have the leads, you have the cold email sending tool, and then from there, all you need to do is the actual skill of writing cold emails and follow ups and whatnot. So easily, I think so.
This question is kind of out of order, but could you explain more about what softwares you use and how you use them in more
So
details?
right. So primarily, I use Apollo.io for leads, right? So that's the primary thing. I pull all my leads from Apollo.io. One thing that I haven't mentioned a lot in my videos is because I don't want to overcomplicate things to beginners, just because it's a lot to take in about explaining a lead generation agency, is that the emails that you pull from Apollo, they still need to be cleaned. So you need like an email cleaning tool, right? So the one I use is called Million Verifier. So essentially, you upload the leads from Apollo to Million Verifier, and it'll verify that the emails are correct. So I use that as well. I prefer Smart Lead now over Instantly, just because I like some of the software better. But I really think both can work. I was using Instantly for, I would say, a year now. So I use Smart
So
Lead now. So right now I have Apollo, Million Verifier, Smart Lead, as well as LinkedIn Sales Navigator, which is basically the same as Apollo. It's just there's more leads on there. Besides those four main tools, um, that's just for sending emails and basically pulling leads, right? I use other stuff too. So if I'm communicating with my clients, I use Slack, which is basically like a Microsoft Teams of sort. The calendar service I use is called Calendly. It makes it easier so that people can book a meeting with me, and they'll get reminded of the meeting, because I book so many meetings and because people book meetings for me. You have to have a way to kind of track the meetings and set reminders for. So Calendly really helps with that. And off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything else, but that's basically it. I have my sending tools, which is just Smart Lead for right now, as well as my data tools, which is Apollo and LinkedIn, and then my email verifying tool, which is Million Verifier. And then from there, if I'm going to speak to my client, I use Slack, and for my calendar tool for booking meetings, it's just Calendly. You don't need too much. And the thing I like about lead generation and most online businesses in general is that if you compare the cost from a regular business compared to an online business, it's really not that much. I would say to start, you would really need $200 to
Start
$300.
from zero.
Yeah, start from zero. $200 to
Start from
$300. Yeah, compared to a regular business, let's say like a gym or a barbershop or whatever you want to think about. Look at the startup cost and compare that to an online business. It'll be so much more. So that's what I really like about this online business type of thing.
Okay, so the software you use are pretty self-explanatory, but something I was more interested in was how does Smartly work and how do you actually,
How does Smart Lead work? You mean?
yeah,
Yeah. So Smart Lead is a email
more of
send.
the process you,
Right. So
more of the process.
the process I go about. Okay, gotcha. So the first things first, I whatever my let's say my client tells me, hey Aryan, I want to work with more. Uh, what was the example he gave recently? I want to work with doctors in the Florida area. Could you book me more meetings with those type of people? Because the one guy you booked me a few months ago was really good. I'll say, okay, I got you, my man. So I'll go to Apollo. In Apollo, I just go to the filters, and for the filters, I can put Florida as well as doctor, as well as you could throw in anything related. There's like an industry filter where you can put like a medical practice or healthcare. So I would use those two filters as well as put the doctor job title in there. From there, what I would do is I would just extract that list from Apollo and verify that the emails are valid at Million Verifier. Once it's done verifying, I take that lead list out and put that into Smart Lead. So when I have it in Smart Lead, that's when I actually get to the copywriting portion of cold email. So from there, I'll take a look at whoever I'm targeting. In this case, is doctors. I'll be like, okay, let me research some pain points that doctors might have when it comes to social media marketing, since my client is a marketing agency. So I like to use ChatGPT for this a lot. I'll just go into ChatGPT. I'll be like, what are some pain points doctors have for social media marketing? And it'll give me a list, right? Let's say 5 things. After those 5 things, I say, okay, which one of these are the biggest? And usually, I've memorized this so much, it'll literally say, well, it's hard to tell which one is the biggest, but here's this thing or this thing, right? And it'll give me like 2 things. And for doctors, right off the bat, it's probably like time, right? So I'll be like, okay, if the doctor's pain point is time, I can talk about time in the email copy. So I'll go back to the email copy and say, hey, I wanted to reach out because we help doctors like yourself increase their revenue with our Facebook ads without having to spend a lot of time on marketing or something, right? Or we help doctors increase their revenue Facebook ads in just 1 week or less or something, right? So just you just implement what you learned from your research into the cold email. I'm not sure it's a good example, but I think you get the point. From there, I'll just write. I'll go with that. Let's say that time angle, and I'll think of another angle. Okay, what's another pain point doctors have? Boom, put it in that side. So in Smart Lead, what you can do is you have the first email that you send. You can write variants of it, right? So you have one angle that targets time, one angle that targets revenue, one angle that targets, let's say, leads. So you have 3 different angles. From there, what I like to do is I like to write follow-up. So follow up after 4 days, follow up after 2 weeks, follow up after a month. And after that, I'll review the copy and launch it. And then the last step is really to look at the analytics and say, okay, so out of all these emails I sent, which angle had the best reply rate? Which angles was I able to book the most meetings with, right? And then whatever angle that is, I'll take that angle, scrape more doctors in Florida, for example, and then just use that same angle for them and take it to the moon. So basically, just go with the winning angle and just scale it from there.
That's basically A/B testing for
Yep,
Facebook
yep,
ads.
yep.
Pretty similar running Facebook ads and
Hey,
sending
I
emails.
don't like that, man. But,
Yeah, they're pretty similar in my opinion. And so, like, going for either of these business models would be really good. Anyone could definitely make money from either
Mhm.
of these business
Mhm.
models. Okay, then, so I wanted to ask, like, if you were 17 again and wanted to start your own business, how would you go about starting your own business?
So when I was 17 again, if I want to start lead generation again, like I said, the same book, $100 million offers, I would read that first, and basically, you know, learn cold email again from people online. So that's especially on Twitter. If you really want to learn cold email or any type of agency stuff, there's a lot of people on Twitter who provide free value and free game on there. So I recommend if you want to learn more, just go on Twitter. Um, so I would read the book, go on Twitter, and learn cold email. Then what I do is okay, marketing agencies, probably this is the easiest thing to sell probably through cold email. Let me go ahead and try to get on calls with them so that I can learn. So I would, write an offer. Hey, I'll book you 10 to 15 qualified meetings every single month, even though that the offer might be a bit saturated. Um, or you could go after, or you could do the revenue angle, client angle, whatever it may be. I would start doing outreach for them, and just trial and tribulation again and again. Just keep learning, and eventually go through sales call and get my first client. So if I were to start from scratch again, I would do the same thing that I did. Just learn cold email, learn how to sell, offer, hop on sales calls, analyze my sales calls, record it, see where I went wrong, and just close clients and do the same thing again.
Okay, so any specific people that you could shout out, like this guy is really gonna help you improve?
Yeah,
Any
right.
people like that on Twitter?
I would say my man, I guess mentor, Levi Arola. I'm in his coaching program, and that's why I said I reinvested back into the business because that's what I've been doing. But I'm in his coaching program. He, outside of every single person, he has helped me the most. So Levi Arola on Twitter. If you want to learn cold email, go through him. He knows a lot. Other than that, everybody else has also helped, but he's been primarily the biggest one.
Iman Gadzhi actually started you on this journey, and the one that actually that helped you progress was
Yeah,
Levi.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
How do you say his
It's Levi. It's not Levi like Attack on
Levi.
Titan, but Levi. Levi.
Yeah, I watched too much anime. Yeah, I actually really liked Attack on Titan.
No, it's
You
actually
watched?
pretty good. I don't watch a lot of animes nowadays, nor do I watch a lot of movies. From time to time,
Yeah,
if it's like a big movie or like a big anime, I'll watch it. But I'm all caught up on Attack on Titan. I don't really watch any shows or any movies right now. I'm just grinding. But if it's like Attack on Titan, they drop a new episode, I'll watch it. It's fine. But
yeah,
other than
yeah.
that,
That
nothing
kind of
new.
happens when you
Yeah,
start a business.
yeah. We just start
You just
grinding.
kind of quit everything.
Right.
You just kind of quit everything and
Right.
stuff.
Right. My friends are like, "Oh, Ari, you should watch this show. You should watch this show." I'm like, bro, I'm on YouTube watching podcasts on how to do this marketing stuff or the sales stuff. Like, why do you watch that? It's fun. It's better. I just like it can help me make more money. I don't know, but I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah,
But that
definitely.
go to
Like
go back to
I've
go. Oh, you wanna go?
okay, so like I've barely been doing anything other than just college and working. Like,
Yeah.
actually, we are also getting paid for the first time. No, actually, no, not the first time, but we're getting our biggest paycheck today. So
Woo!
kind of excited about
Congrats, my
that.
man. No, no. When you hit your like record month, it's like holy shit. Like, oh my god, I did that type of thing. I know what you mean.
I mean, it's not $5,000, but
Hey, no, no, no.
it's something.
Anything on the way, especially if you're over there in Nepal. Trust me, bro. That it's good money.
It's a lot. Like I'm basically making what my teachers are making.
That's what
It's
I'm
like four
saying.
fifty dollars,
That's what I'm saying.
but like I made what my teachers made, so
That's
kind of
what
exciting. Not gonna lie.
that's what I'm saying. That's how it is, man. That's how it is.
Making money for the first time online, definitely the best feeling.
Yeah. There's really no better feeling, right? It's like it's. I remember when I got my first client. So to recap, or to kind of go back, I started my SMMA, I guess, agency journey in March. I switched to the lead generation model in about June, maybe end of May. So from March to end of September, so about 6 months or so, I made zero money. I was down like almost $1,000 at that point. So I made zero money. Imagine waking up every single day working. You don't make shit for 6 months. Like it seems like you're working for no reason, right? But it's really this like this growth period where you just grow a lot. You learn a lot. You learn the most basically in the first couple of months simply because you're a beginner, you're a noob. So you're learning. But on paper, it's like fuck. I have no results. There's nothing to show for, and it kind of discourages you. But you just have to
That's
have
the
a
story. Yeah.
strong, yeah, yeah. You just have a strong mental mind and be like, no, no, no. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it one day. And I remember eventually I hopped on the sales call, and this is my first ever client. I still have him to this day, and I'm still very proud to be working with them. I remember hopping on the sales call with these two guys, and I was just kind of bro, I had no sales model or process. I was just kind of talking about what I do, and then the founder, shout out to I'll say his name. Shout out to Deepak. That's with you, my man. But he was like, okay, let's do it. Like send the invoice. This done. Like 10 minutes into the call. You know how if you watch my videos, I talk about 2 call process. Ask these questions. Ask that question. I didn't ask shit. I was just kind of like telling them what I did and like asking them. I don't even remember asking him any questions. I just remember him telling me, "Okay, let's do it. Like I want to try it. Let's do it. Send the invoice." And we ended the call, and I was like, "Holy shit! Like holy shit!" Like I was jumping back in my room. I was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god!" It was crazy because at that point, like I said, 6 months of work for basically nothing. So that money that I got, even though at the time it was just $600, it meant fucking the world, bro. Because it was literally to this day still the best money I've ever made. Like I'm hitting
Yeah.
like 5K months now, 6K some months, but it's it doesn't compare to that first ever like dollar, you know. So just to the people that if you're running an agency or any other business model and it seems like you've put in a lot of work and you're not getting any results, trust me, just keep going. Your time will come. Just keep adjusting, keep trying to get
Yeah, it's
better
like a
every single
sprint.
day. Like I said, 6 months it took me to make my first dollar. 6 months, and in those 6 months, I made no pro. It seemed like I made no progress, no results. But when I finally got it, that's when everything started to go on the uptrend for me. So, like I said, just keep going.
So it's really good when like working, and see no results, but suddenly it's like a really big result.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's that's a
yeah,
fun feeling. Like,
yeah, yeah.
and it kind of stores up. Like first you kind of don't have any experience at all, but
Mhm,
as you go along, you gain
mhm,
experience, know more about how you can sell and what you need to do. So that's kind of really nice.
mhm,
And for anyone that is looking to, moving on from that, anyone that is looking to start an online agency or business, the best advice that you have given so far is they should learn cold email
mhm,
and they need to learn how to present their offers.
mhm.
Uh, Anything else? Missing?
I would say sales as well. Learn how to sell. Your sales is like a volume game, right? I remember my first sales call again. Go watch that video. I was shaking, man. I was like stuttering. I just did not know how to act. But it's a numbers game, right? The more you take it, the more sales call you take, the better and better you'll get. So eventually you'll get to a point where, like me right now, me a year ago, I hated sales. Like that first, I was like, "Fuck, man, why can't they just invoice me the money after they agree to book a meeting with me, man? Like fuck." And then now it's like I love the process, especially the demo calls where I try to close them. It's so fun because it's like if I could close them, I can make X amount. It's kind of like a game. Money isn't always like that. Like I guess the end goal of life, blah blah blah. But in business, it is right. So it's kind of like a game to me. So if I can close them, I can make this much. If I could say like this way, if I can counter their objection, so it's literally like a video game to me. It's fun. It's like exhilarating. And once you start to get good at it, and once you start closing clients and closing clients and closing clients, it's like holy shit, I'm starting to get good at this. So I would say learn
kind of
sales as
come down
well.
as well.
Yeah. I would say learn sales as well, and just wait. It's a numbers game. You'll get better and better the more calls you take. And one another thing, going back to the client stuff. After I closed that first client on sales calls, I started being more confident, and it just felt easier, right? It wasn't like after I closed my first client, I closed the next 10, but it was like you just get like a confidence and like an aura on the call. You're like, okay, yeah, what are you talking about? And the people will kind of look at you as they'll kind of follow your lead in the call. So if you're scared of sales calls, don't worry. Everybody's ass in the beginning. Go look at my video where I talk about my first time on the sales call. You'll eventually get better, but to I guess summarize your point, I would say learn sales as well on top of that.
Okay, so sales and offers and cold emails.
Hmm.
Like any businesses starting online, they could do that to get more clients.
I would say any agency, because you can't really cold email for drop shipping, right? But any type of agency,
Okay.
I recommend cold email, because if you're selling an offer from an agency, cold email works with any agency business model. I feel like so any type of agency model, go ahead and learn cold email. Whether you're selling Facebook ads, TikTok ads, short form content, Google ads, lead generation, or any other type of CRO, any other type of thing, learn cold email. Learn how to kind of create a grand slam offer, like Alex Hermosi says, and start sending out these cold emails.
Okay, so the last time we talked, this question didn't actually make sense, but this time it should make sense because how many cold emails did you send today?
Okay. You want me to pull up the stats here? I don't want to go
Yeah,
off the
sure.
camera and you'll kind of let me log in on my phone and let me check, because I don't want to disrupt the camera here. Fuck, I have to log into both Smart Lead and Instantly. God damn it. I booked 3 meetings for my clientele today. So,
That's nice.
yep. But it's for
How much
next
is
month.
that?
That's like, well, that's a bit confidential, my man. Nah, but it's at
Okay,
$200 a pop.
okay,
So,
okay.
but you have to remember, I also charge for qualified meeting. So it's not always, and we can actually talk about that on the podcast here in a bit. But let me tell you how much today. Hold up. What the heck? This is harder to do on here. So today I sent 1,100. Oh wait, no. That was on Monday. After logging, so that's 542 just on Instantly, and the majority of it should be on Smart Lead, because I just switched, and yeah, so majority of it should be on here. Give me 1 second. People start clicking
Okay,
off the
that's a
video.
lot of emails.
Yeah, 542 alone just on Instantly, and I barely sent on there. Where is this shit at, bro? Okay, hold up. Login. Let me see. Okay, so on Smart Lead, I don't know where it go. Global Analytics. It's easily over 1,000. I would say so today. So
So it's around 1,500.
I would say, yeah. I would say, because it's I don't, I'm new to Smart Lead. I don't know exactly how to pull up the thing on here, but Instantly I barely, because I started a migration of from all of my email accounts, pulling them to Smart Lead instead, and that's such a hassle. But Instantly alone was 542. I'm assuming at least over 1.2, 1.3. Now I also want
Both
to,
combined.
yeah, combined at least over that. I can't pull up the exact stats on there right now, but I will next time. Trust me. But I wanted to talk about qualified meetings. So this is something that you'll see a lot on Twitter, where essentially people will say, "Oh, charge other marketing agencies pay per call," right? So charge them for qualified meetings. So as for what actually qualified really means, it depends on what you talk to your client about. But what I like to talk to clients about is I tell them, hey, you only pay me if number one, the person shows up to that meeting, and number two, they fit your ICP or your ideal client profile. So if they're the industry that you want to target, the job title that you want to, one of the job titles that you want to speak to, as well as if they're actually interested in your offer and not just random somebody that I just said, hey, let's hop on a meeting about TikTok, right? I can't really. That offers a lot easier to sell probably than what I'm selling, um, but that's basically what I tell my clients. Like, do they number one show up to the call, and number two, are they your ideal client profile? And if only if and then that's a qualified meeting, and that's how I charge you for, right? So in total, I'm probably booking my client like 10, no, I would say 12 meetings every single month, but 8 to 10 or 9 to 10 are qualified, simply because people don't show up, or sometimes the guy is not really qualified. He just saw TikTok in my email and decided to book a meeting. So, or like he just saw like this random stuff in my email and decided to book a meeting. So it just depends, right? But this way, especially as a beginner, this is really really good. Before you start to get into these bigger agency models where you charge them like $2,000 or $3,000 a month for your service, if you go to these other agencies and you're like, hey, I'll I'll book meetings for you, and you only pay me if I perform, if I book you these meetings, and if they're actually qualified and good meetings that I book you. So it's super easy. That's why I recommend lead generation over SMMA, even simply because this offer is a no-brainer offer. What Alex Hermosi says, it's a no-brainer. It's an offer so stupid that people feel stupid. Or it's an offer so good people feel stupid saying no. So it's really easy to just get clients with from that.
So it's free trials really help in the beginning. Is that what you're saying? Basically, free
Not
trials.
necessarily free trials, kind of. Free trials I have iffy opinions on, but I would say more so of, so as a beginner, as a lead generation agency, you can go up to a business like I did and charge them. I charge them a $600 upfront fee, right? So you just pay this once and that's it. And then from there, you only have to pay $200 per qualified meeting. Let's say, right? You only have to pay me $200 per qualified meeting. And here's what qualified meeting means to me. So do you agree on this? And the client will probably say, yeah, that sounds like a very, very good offer. I only pay you if someone shows up to the meeting and is interested. That sounds fucking great, right? So it's kind of like performance.
So do you pocket any of the money you get from the initial $600?
So what do you mean?
They like keeps so you're investing it back, the money, $600 you get.
So usually, right, this is kind of like a secret. At first, well, it really depends, right? You can pocket. I like to charge more now, simply because it's just like if I'm working with a higher ticket client and I know my services is, or if I know how good of my quality my service is, I'll charge more. But like, hey, this is the upfront fee that we only charge once, and it's this way to, and I'll kind of explain to the agency. This is for setting up the cold email. This is for pulling these leads, writing these scripts. But I'll also say like we also like the we also like to see commitment from our clients, but I would say most of that stuff, it's not that expensive to set up all that stuff. It's just more so in the commitment. So yes, I do pocket it, but I would say it's just like, hey, this is commitment. If you want to work with us, we like to see that you as our client are committed to working with us.
So do you just ask them for the price on the call?
So man, you edited my video. You should know this.
No, like I want the viewers to know this.
Okay, okay, okay. So, go watch my sales video on my sales process. But essentially, the first call you want to see how much they make per client, right? So you can just ask them, okay, so how much is your average deal size in terms of revenue, and they'll tell you like an amount, let's say 20,000, and then you'll be like, okay, that's cool. So if they're making, and then you ask them one more question, you're like, how much meetings do you close per, let's say out of 10, or like how many meetings do you think you could close out of 10? They'll probably say 2 or 3,
One.
but you'll say like, so we'll just go with 20%, right? That's like the standard I've seen. 20 to 25% is the usual standard that marketing agencies have. Um, so you'll be like, okay, and then you'll end that call, and you'll be like, okay, on the next call, I'm gonna tell you the price, blah blah blah. You end the call, right? So then after that, I like to think and be like, okay, if these people are making $20,000 per client, and their closing rate is 20%, and I I'm confident that I can book them 10 meetings a month. That means that they'd be closing two clients per month, making $40,000 basically from my services, right? So then you could be like, okay, shit. If they're making $40,000 a month for my service, I should be able to charge a pretty good upfront fee plus a, let's say, $500 per meeting or $400 per meeting or even $2,000 a month type of deal, right? Because it would make sense for them to pay, let's say, $2,000 a month to make $40,000 a month, right? So it's kind of like you have to ask them these questions in the beginning, so that you can justify and create a price and pitch to them in the second call and be like, hey, but you told me that you make this much for a client and you close this much, and if we were to actually book you these many amount of meetings, you would make this much. So does it not make sense for you to pay this little amount to make this a lot amount? You know what I mean? So if you, it's like a logical close. So you just show them, what the statistics are, how many meetings you'll book them, and they'll be like, okay, there's practically no way that I'll make a negative ROI. I'll work with them. So that's how I go about the pricing.
And like, do you charge them like on the call, like so that like they're not gonna just ditch you?
So that's an issue that I actually faced, and that's happened to me twice, where the prospect will be like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'm interested. Send the contract, send the invoice, and um, we'll talk things over." And then a few days go by, but in the meantime, I scheduled them on for another, like, an onboarding call. Let's say a week later, right? So after our second call, I scheduled them for an onboarding call a week later. They're like, "Yeah, yeah, send the invoice, send the payment," and these people, they don't reply, and there's like, you know what, Aryan, I kind of changed my mind. I don't want to work with you. That's happened to me twice. So I have bad PTSD. So I talked to, again, the Levi Erola, I guess my mentor. I guess you could call him that. I don't really, well, yeah, whatever. I talked to him and he said, you could just charge a small deposit, like 10% of the upfront fee, and then you go from there. So that's primarily what moving forward now I'm doing now, where it's just like I'll charge them an upfront fee, and then before the onboarding call, I'm like, hey, you have to pay this before or the day of the onboarding call, just because after this we actually start working together and we have to get this done. We have to get this done. So could you please pay this before the onboarding call? And then they'll go ahead and pay that. So to answer your question, just charge a small 10% deposit and just go forward from there. Because at least then the prospect has already made kind of a commitment towards you.
I also am trying to start my own agency, so I saw a lot of people have that problem, which is why I wanted to ask that question.
Yeah, because that's happened to me twice.
Yeah, it seems like a problem. So, anyways, to summarize everything you said, if anyone is starting an agency online, the most important things are: first, you need to learn to cold email to get your clients, and actually make a good offer to entice them into buying what you have to sell. And send as many emails as you can without getting reported as spam.
Spam.
That's an important thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just learn sales. You mentioned a book.
$100 million. Yeah, $100 million
$100
offers
million
for creating offers. I'll
Read
always
that
recommend
book.
this book. Really, really good book.
Okay, so I think that should be all. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments.
Mhm.
We will try to answer them. We will try to answer as many as we can.
All right.
I think that's all.
All right. Thank
Right
y'all
then.
for watching. And I'm telling you, if you are, like I said, in the process of, starting this journey, or you've been delaying it, or you want to, you're in the process of actually working it, keep going and keep trying. I promise you,
gonna
you'll
happen.
get there. I'm only a few steps ahead of you. I'm not a guru selling you a course. I'm not, at least not yet. I'm not some guy making $10 million a month, or like even a million, or even 50K a month. I'm not there yet. I'm just a few steps ahead of you, and the reason because of that is because I took action and I started literally today, or I started at the time today. But I was like, fuck it, I want to put my head down and grind, and I just started that same day. So if you are in that process, stop delaying it. Just go ahead and start, and I promise you, even in a few months, a year, 2 years, your life will change for the better. So just keep going,
It's gonna be
and
hard.
yep, it's gonna be hard, but just have self belief and just keep going. And I promise you, if I can get this far, which is not that far, yes, I know, but if I'm on this journey to the top, I promise you, you can too.
But it's gonna get easier. It will
Mhm.
get easier. You'll
Mhm.
get used to
Mhm.
it. Okay then. Hope you enjoyed the video.
All right,
That's all.
I'll see you guys probably in my next video. All right, man.